that William Wallace is in game, people are wondering, hey bro, what are the best infantry combos? And we know from testing that William Wallace and Liu Cha are insane together, and it's not exactly rocket science to figure out why the two open field smite commanders are good together. But people are wondering about other commanders, and if they'll work with William Wallace, and if they should split up the perfect combo to make 2 or 3 infantry marches. And the commander we're going to test in this video is a William Wallace Gorgo pairing. Now, we'll also test some other things, and I think you'll find this information insightful, but consider using the timestamps in the description if there's any specific part of this video you want to navigate to. We're going to start with, what does Gorgo do again, and why would she be good with William Wallace? From there, we'll talk briefly about the test methodology, we'll show you the test results, we'll draw some conclusions, and in a future video, I will cover the best infantry pairs that I know of, and hopefully we can prove it with some testing, all right? So let's start with, what does Gorgo do? She is offering on her active skill 2,300 damage factor, and for the next 3 seconds, you deal 10% more normal damage, you do 10% more counter damage, and you take 20% less skill damage. You also deal 5% less skill damage, but that is a really impressive active skill, okay? From here, second skill, infantry units get 40% attack, and whenever you launch a basic attack, you have a 10% chance to increase the target's normal attack damage taken by 30%. Oh my gosh. So you can see why this would work as a really good combination with other smite commanders. Debuffing that normal damage taken is kind of crazy. Now that only can trigger once every 8 seconds. From here, we get to garrison stuff. So this whole skill doesn't matter. When serving as a garrison commander, irrelevant for the open field. This is an open field video. Now, whenever this commander's troop deals smite damage, it deals 30% more normal damage for the next 3 seconds, cooldown of 5 seconds. So that means, theoretically, that if the active skill of William Wallace do some smite damage, and then boom, Gorgo will go and do a ton of smite damage as well, and boost that amount. So this feels like a really cool combo. Let's talk about the expertise, by the way. If you have less than half your units remaining, whenever they launch a basic attack or a counter attack, you have a 10% chance to gain a mighty shield for 3 seconds, damage factor 500, and reduce the attack of 5 nearby enemy troops by 30% for 3 seconds. Honestly, the only thing Gorgo is missing is like defensive stats and also a little bit of march speed. Now, in order to run this test, you can see that on this account, I don't have the combination of Wallace and Gorgo maxed. In fact, having Gorgo maxed is the thing we really need to run the test. So I reached out to Sasuke, who has a 5-1-2-5 Wallace. And you may think, well, is that good enough to run the test? Yes, because what we're going to do is we're going to run a series of 5 battles over and over again with a bunch of different combinations, and we're going to use the same Skippy Liu Cha combo as the sort of punching bag for all the results. We then tally up the Sev wounds and see how each combo does against our punching bag march. That's the methodology here. So here you can see on my main account, I brought the same Skippy Liu Cha every single time. No equipment, no armaments, no city theme. We each had a 5% defense token, and he brought different William Wallace combos, but I just want to show you his William Wallace is 5-1-2-5. So by the way, I'll probably make a separate video about the viability of an unmaxed William Wallace, but the short version is it's looking very viable. Why is that? Well, let me put the entirety of our test results on the screen, and I will talk through each of these things piece by piece to explain how it all went down. Looking at this table of results, let me explain kind of what you're looking at here. Across the top, you've got the combination that Sasuke was using, and the punching bag was always Skippy with Liu Cha, all right? Every single time, that was our punching bag march. So the question is, relative to the punching bag march, how does it trade? Are we trading positive? Are we trading negative? And one of the only combinations to trade positive against Skippy Liu Cha was William Wallace with Liu Cha. Obviously, the new Smite commander is just better, and there's a bunch of reasons why this works this way, but 2,423 trade positive on average with an unmaxed William Wallace. Imagine if this thing was actually maxed, how much better that trade could be. Now, this video is really all about how does Gorgo do? When you swap in Gorgo, we're doing a little bit worse, about 7,787 wounds worse on average per report. So you've got the same unmaxed William Wallace paired with Gorgo, and your result is, again, almost 8,007 wounds worse. So obviously, William Wallace with Liu Cha is very much the best combination in the game. The real question will then become, if you put William Wallace and Gorgo together, what is your other pair going to be? And it could be Liu Cha with Alex, for example, but then you're benching Skippy Prime, which seems kind of weird. But one of the other combinations we tested here was Skippy as the primary with William Wallace as the secondary. Because it feels like you'd really want to be bringing Skippy. Like when we talk about the infantry commanders you must bring, Skippy's on my list, Liu Cha's on my list, William Wallace is on my list, and the real question is it more important to have Gorgo? Is it more important to have Alex? Like, what is it more important to have? And for a lot of people, they'll just be using what they have. But if you had infinite options, what does best look like? So I just wanted to test. Okay, so if you pair Liu Cha and Gorgo, because we know that both of them are Smite commanders and they work very well together, what if your other march is Skippy with Wallace? And that march traded about 6,500 worse than the William Wallace Liu Cha combo. So all that to say, I think it is possible that you can use Gorgo, but I don't think you need to go out and max Gorgo for using in the open field, because I think in general, if I had to choose, do I prefer the Gorgo on the field or do I prefer the Skippy Prime? It's gonna be the Skippy Prime. So even if you were going to go make a march and you were like, man, I'm trying to make the best two infantry, should I go max Gorgo? I think the answer here is probably not. We really need to do kind of more trials with the Skippy William Wallace, but I think most people don't have the Gorgo anyways, and I don't think it's critical that you go get it. In fact, Skippy is just generally offering a lot more for the open field, including area of effect damage, and I get that Gorgo actually has an AoE debuff, but so does Skippy, and it's really good. Now, you can see there's a bunch of other results that are on the board here. One of the things I wanted to test is, hey, if you're using William Wallace and Liu Cha, again, what is that other march you're going to bring? So we tested a Guan Skippy without the relic against the Skippy Liu Cha punching bag. And it traded negative on average by 16,007 wounds. Guys, I don't know if Guan can hang. I also felt like the talents were perhaps slightly suboptimal, so we used a different Guan that had the relic, that's got the full skill tree, and that traded about still 12,000 negative sev wounds compared to the Skippy Liu Cha when battling against it. Guys, I don't know if it's time to bench Guan, and we know that Guan does very well in Canyon. When both sides start at the same point of rage, being able to silence them and get ahead of their rage cycle, hopefully with your silence, is so powerful. It's busted. Okay, it's so busted. We know that, okay? And we know that when you can take advantage of the AoE, it's good. Like, I put my Max William Wallace into Canyon. I tried to take out Guan. It did not do as well. So the other thing we tested, by the way, and we only got this very briefly because we ran out of time, is we ran a Liu Cha Alex against the punching bag march, and that also traded about 2,000 positive. But keep in mind, this is no longer got the William Wallace. This is an unmaxed William Wallace that traded 2,400 positive. Okay? That is crazy. And when I start to think about, well, why would it trade so positive? I think a part of the reason is that Skippy Liu Cha, and the Skippy in particular, cares about skill damage mitigation. And these smite-based combos really aren't doing any skill damage at all. So if I had to guess, and I will do some more digging into this and probably some testing, but if I had to guess, I think what you could do is like Skippy with Wallace and Liu Cha with Alex, and I think that could be a pretty damn good combo for the open field. I also think the philosophy of putting Wallace and Liu Cha together, going for that Smite talent tree so that you can reduce the rage of your enemies, could be really powerful. And it's this particular talent. I'll scroll on down. This is my main account. We can also spin the wheel together here. There's too many commanders. Legendary, infantry. It's this talent, 45 rage reduction for every target you hit. That's so insane. So I think as of right now, from this testing, I'd say Gorgo's probably not necessary. And I think you can enjoy something with a little more March speed if you want. William Wallace, Liu Cha, and Guan Skippy would be a great 2 infantry combo. I think the other way you could run it is Liu Cha Alex, and then Skippy with William Wallace. And that also, to me, feels like a solid way to run some infantry. But let me know your thoughts down below in the comments for what infantry combos we should try to test and what you think the best 2 infantry march combo ultimately looks like. We can go in here and spin the wheel. This is, in fact, the main account that I'm on. So let's get it done. And I'm kind of hyped about this KvK we have coming up, but let's just spin this wheel real quick. All right. How do we do? 1 sculpture. Not amazing. Kind of looking for an average of 2 sculptures, kind of like this. And then we know for sure we're getting value over the 3,600 gems we're spending. Okay, 4 sculptures. We are definitely winning right now. This is good. 2 sculptures, huge. We're definitely exceeding that average of 2 per. Even with this, we're still exceeding. Oh, no, well, maybe we're meeting now. Uh-oh. I think we just fell behind suddenly on average, but barely. Hey, okay, boom. So it's averaging out. I spin the wheels past the 100 mark on my main account because I've got the gems for it. Most people should obviously stop at 100 here. Okay, this is a whale doing whale things on a whaled out account. All right, and we only have 10 more spins. 8 spots sure would be nice. This spin sucked. Oh my god. Final spin. What about an 8 spot? No, sir. None for Chisgule today. GG's, man. That is a little bit of a yikes. We do have a KvK. We are in the Eve of the Crusade now. We're in stage 1. Stage 1, you know how it goes, man. It's pretty straightforward. You battle the Marauders. We are currently 6th, and this is the stage that our kingdom really does not push. Everybody is saving their action points for later. So either we are actually in huge trouble and we're coping, or we'll see what happens in the subsequent stage of this event, and we'll kind of see how it's looking. I'm pretty curious. Maybe I'll push. Should I push a little bit? Eve of the Crusade on the main? Maybe. I don't know. TBD. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. And again, let me know what you think the new best 2 March infantry combo looks like and 3 March infantry combo looks like. Because I'd like to go and test it, and I'll cover it more in depth in a separate video. But the big takeaway for me here is that the Gorgo is definitely good, but I don't know that I'd say it's necessary. And I don't know that it's so good that missing out on area of effect damage and some of these other things that are very powerful could be worth it. But maybe there's some full, normal attack-based squad that could be good. I mean, geez, we haven't even talked about the other Skippy. What about other Skippy? Should he be in the open field? 2,700 factor. That ain't bad. Make the target take more damage. That ain't bad. March speed out of territory. That's pretty good. 20% speed. Man, 5% more normal damage when you're hit with a basic. Chance to dispel all health and defense debuffs. That's okay. Also, immunity to health and defense debuffs. Take less normal damage. I mean, that's not bad. This is attacking a city or stronghold, so that ain't it. And then whenever the current target of this commander's troop uses an active skill, this commander's troop gains rage 40% faster for the next 2 seconds. I mean, at the end of the day, he's a single target damage guy, which makes me pretty anxious. But we'll cover whether or not he perhaps belongs in the open field. Maybe he's a better pick than Gorgo. TBD, I'm going to be maxing this commander on my main account pretty soon. So subscribe. You're not going to want to miss it. And until next time, you have fun smashing your enemies. Take care, everybody. And if you want to see the full testing that we did with William Wallace when he landed in game, check the card right over here, or I'll have a summary of the testing right over here. William Wallace testing, everybody. Enjoy it.